How far we have come.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, Caleb Arnold, I'm sitting here with today, and we're talking just about lifting the view of the skilled trades. I'm very honored to be here with you. So, thank you for stepping up to the line with me today. And yeah, see, you were looking really cool, and then you just totally fumbled it.
Woof and the whiff.
Yeah. No.
I've been wanting one of these for a while now, so
Well, you only get one if you're on the line.
I know.
So,
It's an honor.
yeah.
Yeah, put it up on my mantle at home.
Push your kids' photos out of the way and put the mug up there. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, welcome to the line. Sorry, I didn't. I'm messing this up. We don't edit anything, and so this is just great.
Raw.
Like multiple. All right. Welcome to the line, Caleb Arnold. So there you go. How do you like that?
I like it.
But yeah, so I just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you. You are Blackline's director of education in our training team, division, whatever you want to call it. Curran is literally listening right now, and he goes, "It's a team, Joshua. We don't call them divisions." So,
That's anti-team.
Yeah. Well,
division.
Yeah. So, but you, you do some instructing, you work with our students, and I shouldn't talk for you, but we've been wanting to sit down and have this conversation for a little while. And, you've listened to a couple of these podcasts. It's about lifting the view of the trades. And so, the order of how we go through it. But here next week, we're having a graduation for some of our students, which is kind of exciting. You've been putting a lot of work into that. So we'll talk through some of that here today and talk through, where you come from, what you're doing here, and just what your goals are with Blackline and what we're trying to do. So specifically related to the Institute, which is your primary focus. So
Correct.
Yeah. So Caleb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, man, I could talk for a long time about myself, but real quick, I got a wife, Sarah. Today is actually our wedding anniversary, 13 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Happy anniversary. And
thank you.
I'm not getting in trouble that you're here, are we?
No, as long as I'm
As
home.
long as you are getting in trouble.
As long as I'm home by about 5:30, we're good.
Okay. All right.
So, I got 2 boys. Hank is 3, and Jack is 6 months.
I love those names, man.
Strong
I love
names.
those names.
One
Absolutely.
syllable.
Yeah.
One syllable. That's how I am.
That way you can yell at them quickly.
Yep. 4-letter words. Hank and Jack. But anyway, my origin starts. I'm originally from the anthracite coal region up in central Pennsylvania, and I have 2 brothers, middle of 3 brothers. Older one Aaron, younger one Jake. Raised by an amazing. This will probably come up a lot, but I hit life's lottery. I don't care what anybody says. I have the best parents anyone can ever ask for.
That's cool, man.
And so that's really given me a launch in life and really given me support. And just I would not be where I am or who I am if it wasn't for my mom and dad, and also the support of my brothers and family. But I got amazing parents and an amazing wife.
Yeah.
And so I just got hit life lottery. But I grew up single family income. My dad's been a automotive technician for Ford Motor Company now since 1977. He's still at it, still going strong.
Wow.
And he has taught me a lot about work ethic, as you know.
Yeah.
And just hard work and tenacity and given me a lot of the skill sets that allowed me to excel in the industry that I'm a part of now. And that's a little bit about me.
So what are some of the things that you've done? Like, when you came out of high school, I know the history, some of your family there, but and we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
We worked together on different projects over the years. But when you came out of high school, what were you? Because right now you're teaching and you're instructing young people who either are coming out of high school or they're in the workforce. I would think some of your students are curious to know a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
And so, where did you go out of high school? Did you just become an electrician, you just to list some of the things that I know that you are: heavy equipment operator. You're an electrician, commercial, industrial, plant electrician, all of those. You've done all of that stuff. And I'm not trying to tell your story, but it's walk us through some of that process and how you got to where you are, that now here today, you're sitting here as the director of education for Blackline Institute.
Yeah. So it's I took a roundabout path to get to where I am today. Honestly, so my older brother, I grew up in a blue collar family, extremely blue collar. My dad's a mechanic, brothers, cousins, welders, truck drivers, technicians, and my uncles worked for the railroad. Just a lot of blue collar.
Yeah.
And so I grew up always wanting to be like my dad, and always thought I was gonna be a mechanic.
Yeah.
But I was pretty good at school. I got good grades, honor roll, honor society, all that. And I think my parents wanted something better for me.
Yeah.
My dad didn't want to have to watch me bust my hump and lay over the top of a fender all day or up underneath a dash, busting his back and his shoulders and his neck and everything. And so, I kind of just naturally got pushed towards college.
Yeah.
But didn't really ever want to go.
Yeah.
And so honestly, when my senior year of high school, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was kind of like, I don't know, different than my other brothers. They always kind of knew what they were going to do, and I just was unsure. I was really unsure. And that's one thing that connects me with our students now and just young people that are so unsure about their future and what they could do or what they couldn't do. I felt like I didn't have the skill set that my brothers, my dad, my uncles, my relatives had. I didn't have that. I was pushed towards college and college prep. And so I joined the Army, literally at a default. I don't know, just didn't know what to do.
It's kind of hardcore. I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to join the Army.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did because I went in a boy and came out a man. But anyway, I was in the Army Reserve for 9 years, I want to clarify. And that taught me a lot. But I joined the Army, went basic training at IT, became a heavy equipment operator. And came home from that. And I was like, well, now what? Well, I became a farmhand, worked at a farm, and then picked up a job working in a lumber yard, lumber mill, actually a lumber mill. And then was able to get a job at a coal mine because of my equipment operator experience in the Army. Worked in a coal mine for years.
And you're here in Pennsylvania and from the coal mine region of Pennsylvania still.
Yeah. Well, we have to clarify this to your viewers at home.
Okay.
It's anthracite coal, not that bituminous crap down in West Virginia.
Oh, okay. So anybody that might have been in West Virginia that was listening just turned off, or they're looking you up and finding out where you're at.
No, coal is awesome.
Yeah.
Coal is king.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. It's just the anthracite coal is just a really small section of the world where it's found, and it's found up where I'm from. So it's just something I take pride in.
Absolutely.
Take pride in cool. where I'm from. And so I worked in a coal mine, but honestly, college kept being brought forth to me the whole time. And I'm working at this coal mine and learned so much about life. You want to talk about just learning stuff about life from guys and being poured into and being mentored by men and just learning things about life and how the world works and just understanding that. And so anyway, but college is nagging on me. I'm sorry, like people watching our students. I know that, like, which way do I go? I want to go this way. I want to go that way. And I lived that for years, not knowing what to do and constantly being told by other people, college, you're too smart, you're too good, we want better for you, blah, blah, blah. You're too this, you're too that. And so eventually I kind of succumbed to college. Went to college for 3 years.
So just to break it down here so I make sure that I'm following this thread.
Yes.
So you went into the Army, you came back, you had equipment operator, and you're working in the coal mine, you worked on farms, and then now you're going back to college.
Yeah, so I was 22. And
it must have been a pretty intense pressure that you were feeling through all of this time to get to 22 and be like, now I'm going to college.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
And so I felt led to do it. And, I'm a man of faith and I don't hide that. And so there's a reason why I went to that college. That's where I met my wife. Yeah. And so it took me 12 years to finish a 4-year degree. So I would say, but
we'll edit that out. I mean, this is the gentleman that's leading the training and instruction for the Blackline Institute. Took him 12 years to finish his degree.
Yeah. So anyway, but in that story of being in college, that's when I met you.
Yeah, that's true.
When I met you, and we started talking and hanging out, and just talking about life and what you do and what my direction I was going, and what you had going on, and some of your some of your ventures and things, and we just kind of started working together and doing things together, projects, and
Yeah,
kind of snowballed really quickly.
absolutely.
And then so through that, I went through a 4-year apprenticeship program in electrical and was able to apply all those things that I learned from my dad and my brothers,
Come on.
from a little kid all the way up to the Army, the coal mine, all kinds of stuff. I was able to then apply all that knowledge and that wisdom and that just hands-on skilled trades into the electrical industry, and this really helped me become really well-rounded in the trades.
I think that's something that I find really interesting about the trades is that, whatever you are learning, it's not something that you lose, and it literally can be applied in multiple vocations.
Yep.
It's like what you're learning as a first-year apprentice or what you're learning as a second year, third year, whatever, actually can continue to, I don't know if transcend is the right word, but it continue to expand throughout your career.
Yep.
And there are things that I learned as a second year apprentice that I'm still utilizing today. And they're not even electrical.
Yep.
And it's like that stuff that I just think that's interesting because it doesn't matter where you go, what you do. You make that investment in what you're learning, and it's not something that you can lose. I remember my father, he would always say to me, "A trade's something no one can take away from you."
Right.
Yeah.
One thing cool about the skilled trades to me is it teaches you critical thinking.
What do you mean by that? Like, start with what is critical thinking to you?
Being able to think outside the box, step back from a situation, and say, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's really going on here? And look at something objectively from different angles.
Yeah.
And really study it. So when you are a skilled tradesman or woman, you have to learn how to look at things. Like, you can take something so simple as in this building, there's conduit running everywhere.
Yeah.
You could run that conduit 16 different ways. There's going to be more efficient ways. But we're all going to look at that a certain conduit running, where we're going to put it and install it, and it's going to be different.
Absolutely.
But to be able to analyze that, what's the best way? The big thing with skilled trades is troubleshooting, man.
Yeah.
Like, that helps your critical thinking. And when you learn critical thinking, man, the doors of life just start opening up because so many people just don't have that skill. And that's the skilled trades teach you. If you want to be successful in skilled trades, you have to be good at critical thinking. And I'm always getting better at it. I'm not no expert at it, but just I apply that to my family. I apply it to my life, my finances, my investments. Our institute.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the greatest things of skilled trades is learning critical thinking.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to think critically on the job site, or you're going to flop.
Absolutely. Well, that's the funny thing, I think, also, on projects and on job sites, it's like, I 100% agree, critical thinking. I would call it problem solving, but it's the same thing. And I was just talking with a guy the other day, and he talked about, when you get in those situations, and when we were talking about problem solving and how to coordinate and manage large projects. And he said, sometimes you need to zoom out and then zoom back in, so that you can go back and forth and see. But that critical thinking or problem solving, when you have that, that's a skill that, you learn in the trades and you can apply it. But the interesting thing about it is there's like no net. Like, you know what I mean? When you're working and you're learning critical thinking on a job, like you said, if you don't have it, you're going to flop. Yeah. And the cool thing is about the trades, and when you're coming up in it, when you're learning that stuff, is there are usually these things, we call them, like, we don't have any instructors at Blackline, but we have mentors. And so the cool thing is there are always mentors in the trade. And you have people that come alongside you that want to not only teach you that critical thinking and that problem solving, but they're also, when you're working alongside them, if you have the right attitude, they're going to keep you from falling on your face.
Yeah.
You might fall, but they're going to catch you.
Yep.
And they're going to work alongside you to figure it out. And if you don't have people like that, well, then maybe you're on the wrong team.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. It's just it's amazing what the skill trades you like you said before, you can't they can't take it away.
Yeah.
They can take. I don't care what happens in this rotten economy or the stinking election coming up. Whatever happens, man, I know I got a job. I don't worry about it for a second that I'm not gonna be able to put food on the table for my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, God's gonna provide, but I also know I'm dang good at what I do, and somebody's gonna need me somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere. So a skilled trade, man, it teaches you that. It gives you security blanket. Even if you move on from the skilled trades or move like yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not necessarily picking up a lineman's every day. But
Sorry. I just the world is grateful for that.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Although I do miss it,
Yeah.
for sure. But that is something that I think about. It's like, well, I could always do that.
You could always go back to it.
Yeah.
And that gave you that foundation for you to move to get to where you are. You know.
Yeah.
And what you continue to do, and your partners and stuff. I mean, it's amazing. What
I think related to that, one of the other things that I find really interesting about it is it's helped me to see beyond the structure, or like we're sitting here in a building and it's like, I know what's behind the walls.
Yeah.
I know the processes, and during 2020, my wife and I built a house, and I really wasn't all that involved in building it, other than coordinating and basically project managing it. And it's like, when problems would arise, because of my experience, I was able to understand. So I didn't lose it when things didn't go the way that I thought they should, because I understood the processes and how it works.
Yeah, it's something to take pride in, because the average person don't have any idea how a site is prepped, a building is built, how a can of Yingling beer goes from a bucket of hops and an empty can to a finished product at a distributor at a bar.
Well, we're going to get in that. I mean, you're totally repping and wearing a hat, and we didn't really get into Yingling all that much, but we're at that point where I want to ask you a question. So if I can break this up, and I mean, you and I just love hanging out together.
Yeah.
And having conversations. So that makes this really easy. So this will probably be our first 3-hour podcast. So except for your anniversary, and I'm afraid of your wife. So yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So what is a piece of gear or a tool or something in your life? And I've gotten so many different kinds of answers. I did a podcast recently, and the gentleman said, well, can I answer practically, and can I answer this way? And so, it was... So there's no
right or wrong,
no rules or anything like that. There's definitely wrong, but I'm gonna wait till you say it, and then I'm gonna make fun of you for it on air. But what is a tool or a piece of gear that you can't live without, that you have to have, for Caleb Arnold?
Well, I'll tell you this: if I'm going to a piece of equipment or getting called to a service call or something that's broke down, there's 4 things that I will have with me.
All right, 4 things.
Yeah, I will have a pen light.
Okay, that's one.
I will have a pocket screwdriver. I will have a Klein 1101 and a set of Nipix Cobra 10-inch pump pliers.
Okay, say that again.
Channel
the
locks.
last one.
Channel locks. It's just water pump pliers. There's a specific brand that I prefer that are much better than any of the other ones, in my opinion, and they work well.
Nipix.
Nipix, Germany.
Okay.
They're pretty sweet.
Can you say that 3 times fast? Never mind. I'm just...
Knipix.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so those 4 tools I can fix. You can get in a lot of trouble with those 4 pieces of equipment.
This is true.
Tools. Pen light, man, you got to see. I can't... This is a pet peeve of mine. So all you students listening to this and learning more about the trades, you got to be able to see what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
And I can't stand when people are working in the dark and you just whip a pen light up, bam.
Yeah.
And whipping out their phones, and then you have playing on Instagram or whatever, 45 minutes. So, like I got one on me right now all the time.
Yeah.
It's just part of I learned that from my dad. He always has a pen light on him. So
Yeah.
it's easy with him. But anyway, yeah. That'd be my, if I'm going somewhere, that's always in one of my tool bags, pouches.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with you, on projects and job sites. I'm big on efficiency.
Yeah.
Because we live in a low bid world, so the only way to make money on a job is to do it faster than the other guy.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of rules involved with that, because if you're going to do it, more efficiently, and I like to use the word efficiency rather than faster, just because you still got to do it right. You still got to make sure that you maintain quality, but you need to eliminate steps. I'll never forget, I worked with an old timer. He was like a lineman. He wasn't like a lineman. He was a lineman. And we were working on a project together, and I'd been wanting to, the company that I work for, I wanted to be doing medium voltage work or high voltage work. And so they put me with him to gain experience, and he was in his 70s, and it was fascinating to me because he, the truck that we were working with had a remote control belt, and he just had done it so often, he had eliminated all the steps.
Yep.
And so I was fascinated as his experience of being like this, and this, we were setting poles one day, and I forget how many poles we had to set. And I had this thing with being a smartass.
I don't see that.
Yeah, you know. And we were talking, and we're working together, and I said, all right. I said, I'll bet you that we can't set, I want to say that it was like, I think it was like 10 poles or something like that. And I said, I'm betting you that we can't do this in an hour. And he looked at me and he goes, absolutely we can. And so he laid out the whole job, and we got started. And matter of fact, I actually didn't do a whole lot of anything when this happened.
You were the gopher.
Yeah, I was. Well, but I mean,
Go for this.
I didn't have to go for anything because he had it all figured out.
Yeah.
And he had everything that he needed. And he set each pole in something like 7 minutes, maybe 6. Some were even less than others. And it was like, we got done. I almost felt like he's like, done.
Yeah.
And he proved me wrong. He absolutely proved me wrong.
That man was good at critical thinking. Then.
Absolutely. He was good at critical thinking, for sure.
Over the years, just fine-tuning his skill set.
Well, I think that ties in with what we need to be as people, not even just tradesmen or tradeswomen, but we should always be trying to be better than we were yesterday, today. And that was the mindset that he had in what he did. And, he went for years and years and years and years beyond that. And it was just fascinating to me, his skill level.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's pretty cool. So
that is special when you get to see somebody that's been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And just watch and learn. Just watch and learn.
Yeah.
And man, you can just pick stuff up. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Well, and the interesting thing is, if you ever are on a job with someone like that, it's like this wealth of knowledge. You just want to be near it.
Yep.
You just want to be near it and try to soak it up. Because I can remember being on jobs with him, and I remember he'd be watching something and he would just kind of step back, and that's because his level of experience, he knew something bad was about to happen because the way that they were doing it, it was just, it was interesting. He told me a story one time. I wasn't on the job when this happened, but they flipped a transformer on, and it was wired wrong, and it jumped, like physically jumped. And so they're like, huh. And then they flipped it on again, and I'll never forget this. And he said the power lines just kind of melted and fell to the ground. It was like, all right, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not trying to take over your conversation here.
But these are good stories.
They are good stories. And I think that's the importance of mentoring and training up the next generation.
Yep.
And I say the next generation instead of young people because it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're 18, if you're 30, if you're 40. It doesn't matter if you're 50. That would be interesting. But it doesn't matter, and it can be learned. I recently talked with one of our partners at Blackline, and they probably have the oldest apprentice ever, he said, who just came on board, and he was like, I don't know, 54 or 56, something like that. And he's like, I just want to do something different.
Yep.
And so he went through the apprenticeship program and wanted to learn it.
Well, that's another great thing about skilled trades is, when there's satisfaction in doing it. So
Absolutely.
You get so much satisfaction. I was on a job visiting some of our students for lunch a couple weeks ago, and man, they are it's a big apartment complex, multifamily, and man, it's right along a major interstate, and they are just I was talking to them and stuff, and you guys show your wife and your kids this,
yeah,
and they're like, yeah, every time we drive by, if I'm with somebody, I say I'm working on that job, because it's a really big job and it's cool, and so yeah. There's nothing like working all day, busting your hump, and building, fixing, repairing, installing, troubleshooting something, coming home to your wife and kids and being like, yep, I did that. And there's not many other, working in a cubicle, you don't get that. I'm telling you, there's just something about the skilled trades, whether it's auto mechanics, welding, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, a painter, automotive tech, whatever. I mean, anything, heavy equipment operating, man, there's just something about it. I've done a little bit of all that, and there's something special about it. It's hard work, but one thing I learned from my dad, you got to take care of yourself. I get sick of all these people telling me all the time, I can't go into skill trade. I got to take care of my body. Come on now. How about all the people that work in cubicles that got hip replacements, knee replacements, they're 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
My dad's been doing it for 46, 47 years now. He takes care of himself.
How old's your dad?
He's 60, 59, 64.
64.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it.
Oh yeah. And he's got a side hustle too doing it. He don't play.
Wow.
Yeah, and he takes care of himself.
Yeah.
He gets up every day. He eats right. He stretches. If he goes to chiropractor regularly, he takes care of himself. So you can last 40, 50 years in the trades, but if you got to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself sitting in a cubicle, you're going to fall apart too,
Yeah.
You're just going to be in air conditioning all day, I guess. I don't know, but that whole mindset is a pet peeve of mine because it's a bunch of crap. Just people not want to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Well, I recently was talking with a guy, and the comment came up. One of the greatest lies ever told is that it's not that simple, and it really truly is that simple. Meaning, if you want X, if you want to take care of yourself, you do.
Yep.
You put the things in place. Like if it matters to you, if it's of value to you, then that's what you do. And most things worth having are hard. And so you have to do the hard thing. And you need to do it again, and you need to do it again, and you need to do it again. I'll never forget this. When I was a young man, I'd heard these phrases from my grandfather over the years and from my father, and it was like, easy money isn't real. There's no get rich quick scheme. It's every day grinding it out. And I would listen. You can make really good money in the trades, more than ever before, I would say. Mm-hmm. But I've experienced both sides of it, and I don't want to say that. I don't want to sound noble because it's not. Listen, I like money. We need money to live. It is the currency with how we get things done. But I've been paid a lot in a job that I absolutely hated, and I've been paid a lot less in a job that I absolutely loved. And if I had to pick one to do for the rest of my life, every day, day in and day out, it would not be the one with the bigger paycheck, for sure.
It's not worth selling your soul.
Yeah. Well, and if you're not enjoying what you do, and I don't mean it like, listen, again, it's really simple. Things are difficult. Sometimes work is hard, hence why it's called work. But if you continue to plug away at it, chip away at it day after day, and you're diligent, then someday someone's going to notice, and you're going to see that difference. And it just works that way. There's no shortcut. There's no way to get there faster. I was listening to a podcast by a guy, and he said, it's kind of like baking a cake. You can't turn up the oven and get it to bake faster. Some things just take time. If you do that, you're going to burn it, or it's not going to cook all the way through, or it's going to be dry, whatever it is. And it's the same with your career in the trades. It's like you cannot rush it. But if you consistently put the time in, then you're going to learn, and you're going to become educated, and you're going to gain that experience that no one can take away from you.
It's like that linesman that you worked with, had that 40 years of experience from my dad.
Yeah.
It took 40 years to get to where they are.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's like cooking a steak in a microwave or smoking, or what do you want? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, and for me as a director of training of the Blackline Institute, I'm still learning. I learn every day. You should see my wife at home. We got 2 kids, so she's bath bedtime is nuts. They're little and they're fun. I love them, but I'll help do the dishes while she's putting our youngest one to sleep, and he's a monster to go to sleep. It's terrible. I'm sure many of you watching, if you haven't been there, you'll be there soon enough, and I'll laugh at you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm downstairs. I'll do the dishes. I set up on the windowsill my computer, and I'll pull up training videos.
Yeah.
And I'm doing dishes, watching training videos, and it's stuff that I've learned 10 years ago, and every time I watch it, I pick up something else. You never stop learning. That's one reason why my dad is so effective at his job now, because he's never stopped learning. When you're in the skill trade, you cannot stop learning, or you come outdated and obsolete quick.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. Well, and especially in your trade, which is electrical, and I have a little bit of experience there, it's always changing. I mean, it's always like there's a new code book every, 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And they're always changing the way it is. I remember when I first started in a trade, a guy hadn't been in the electrical trade for years and years and years, came to help me on a job. And it was like, even in this 10 or 20 years that he had been out of it, so much had changed that he had said, it's like, wow, if you're not continuing to stay up on it, you're gonna atrophy. You're gonna lose certain things. in that
Atrophy,
regard.
yeah, it's just like your muscle. You don't use your muscle, and
Yeah.
it's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true. You use it, you lose it, and you got to always be continuing to learn and expand. You never know it all. And just like what I love about the skilled trades is you take an electrician. You can be a residential, commercial, industrial. I've gone from roughing in commercial buildings, not knowing anything my first couple of days as an electrician, working for a contractor, to PLC work, control work at America's Oldest Brewery,
Yeah.
and that whole swath and learning that and knowing all that in between. And there's just more, and it's never changing. Codes update, and as technology continues to grow, you look at my dad. He started out working on single barrel carburetors with points and condensers, and now there's 400 computers and 27 modules, and he's doing more computer work than he does turning wrenches anymore.
Yeah.
But if he
Sure, he loves that.
no, he hates it. His side work is like anything 2002 or older.
Wow.
But anyway,
Wow.
that's another.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you gotta keep learning, keep growing, and that's to me that's another cool thing about the skilled trades is because it always keeps you interested.
Yeah.
There's always something new, something else to learn.
It's never boring. I mean, sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult in that way because it's almost like it's a moving target in some ways, especially depending in what area of the trades that you're in. Depending if you're in earth moving or if you're in framing, steel erection, whatever it might be. It's like there always are problems and challenges, and hence that critical thinking and that problem solving. So your story, we came through all those things, and then you've worked, whether it's for the Army, whether it's for a contractor, doing commercial electrical work, whatever, industrial electrical work, to working in, you said you worked on farms, and then you were working and you were like the lead electrician for Yuengling,
Mm-hmm.
and you're working, and I love how you refer to it every time we talk about it. It's like it's America's oldest brewery. Like you don't even really call it Yuengling all that much. You just refer to it as the oldest brewery, which, just to be clear, that's here in Pennsylvania. And just a shout out to Yuengling from me. I really don't drink beer anymore except when you bring me Yuengling, and that was my first beer that I actually liked. I still remember the pub where it was on draft. I remember them pulling it back and sliding a frosted mug of Yuengling to me and drinking it. I was like, this is good. And that's something that is a Pennsylvania.
Yep.
It's like that anthracite coal that you talk about, man. Yuengling, we're the only ones that could say we have the oldest brewery. Some other people might argue, but we know.
Yeah, and I would say anybody that is watching, send us a note, make a comment, and I'll set you up. I'll give you a VIP tour of the brewery personally from me.
Wow.
So hit us up. And
So I need to figure out how to comment.
On this video.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to ask Curran and Jake to show me how to do that. So that, because I want a tour for sure. We'll do a Blackline Caleb Arnold tour.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Yeah. So, I was working in the commercial, more of the construction space.
Yeah.
And just was at the point in my career where I was ready to take I wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
So I got more in the controls and automation side, worked for several different companies before I was able to land a job at Yuengling, and amazing company.
Yeah.
Amazing company. They're America's oldest brewery. Actually, what's really cool about it is they're America's largest American-owned brewery.
That's
Largest.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. They're gonna sell out. Still family owned and operated.
Wow.
6 generations. So it's
Wow.
It's special. It's special.
That's pretty amazing to me just to think about right there. When you say it that way, it's like, so America's oldest brewery. I'm going to put you on the test here. So when were they founded?
Well, 1829
1829.
by D.G. Yuengling. He came to Pottsville from Germany. But the brewery, the oldest brewery, was built in 1830. The original one, 1829, burnt down.
Okay.
Across town, and so the one that I work at is 1830.
Okay. So when you think about how many years that is, that's like insane.
195 this year.
195 years. And then you say, 6 generations. It's like, that really puts in perspective the life that we live and what a generation can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because 6 generations doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 6 lives that have invested in building something that now, and again, that is something that invests and builds into our economy, into the people that work there, the families that supports. I think that's one of the things that I just love about what we're talking about is people don't realize how much what you do affects the next generation, affects the man or woman standing next to you, their family, their that power of multiplication as it goes out there.
Yeah, the ripples in the pond.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing to see, being in the skilled trades and blue collar skilled trades, men and women. It's just an honor to be part of the infrastructure of this country.
So, what are a couple of wow, I just glossed over that. It's an honor to be a part of the infrastructure of this country. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It is. And this leads into, I know the answer because we were talking earlier and we said this, but it leads right into this question. What are a couple of the projects over the course of your career that were some of your favorites? A
lot of different opportunities I've been blessed with, really. I remember the first day on the job as a contractor, it was just pulling wire and light poles, and that's, I keep harping on, but that's why I'm so passionate about the Institute. I started, this year will be 15 years in the trade, and I've gone from that to where I am today in 15 years because I just kept grinding and pushing and learning and critical thinking and having that good, strong work ethic. But my two favorite projects, man, probably the two that come was a project you and I got to do together for the Norfolk Southern Railroad and intermodal for them. We did in Greencastle, Pennsylvania.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool to see. It was one along the main line for Norfolk Southern Railroad, so there's trains ripping up and down, and really cool to see another industry, the rail and how they build the tracks and lay the tracks and the ribbon rail that's miles long and the train just lays it down, and just to be a part of that and part of that whole infrastructure of an intermodal.
It was fascinating. Yeah. I mean, before that, I didn't even know what an intermodal was.
Yeah, it was an honor to, like I mentioned, a lot of my family, I have heritage working for the railroad. Yeah. And so it was just cool to feel like an attachment to that. And like going back to the skill, man, you just feel attachments to it. It's just so amazing. And then the other one, probably at Yingling, we have done so many awesome projects at that brewery. But we just recently finished the CO2 liquefaction project where we collect all of our CO2 when beers fermenting, it gives off CO2. We capture that, collect it, scrub it, clean it, liquefy it, and then we'll reuse it all throughout the brewery for different processes and recycle it. And that was a huge investment for our brewery. And so that was a really cool part that anyone that wants to hit me up, I'll take you to go see it.
Man, he really wants to take someone to see that.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things about that place. They are so good. And man, there's the family. They just love it. Like people take pride, and it's just fun to be able to show off a piece of Americana that is still in operation today.
Unfortunately, Norfolk Southern will not allow us to give you a tour of the intermodal facility, so that's not an option.
No.
So they can comment all they want on the video, but you won't be able to pull that one off. So oh my goodness. Well, let's talk a little bit about. So you've made some decisions to put your time into training people. Mm-hmm. You're here at the Blackline Institute, and why are you making that choice to do that? Like, what is it that's going on in Caleb Arnold? You have this 15 years of experience, and you pretty much could write your ticket, like seriously. And I'm not being anything other than honestly, if you're in the trades and you work hard and you're doing a good job and you're diligent at it and you continue to ignore the lie that it's not that simple. You'll be able to write your ticket anywhere you want to go. There's no doubt about that. When I became an apprentice, they said you get your journeyman card, you can go anywhere in the country, and you can work.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit, and they're right. I had a conversation recently with a company called Kiewit, 31,000, maybe 33,000. I can't remember. Once we get over 30,000, I stop counting. Employees. That was with the employees, and they said they do everything except build houses, and if you're the type of person that is those things, then you can pretty much write your ticket anywhere in that company that you want to go. Mm-hmm. And that's how it is in the trades. So in that regard, you have done that. You've been doing that over the past 15 years. You can write your ticket, but you're choosing to invest in people in this way at Blackline. Why?
Man, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that were like, I was 17, you had no idea. And think, I can't do it. Yes, you can. You can do it. You can do it. And man, that's like one of the major driving factors. People matter.
Yeah.
And I care so much about people. I care about others. I'm passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
And man, if you have an inkling to work with your hands, you can do it. You can do it. We can get you trained up here at the Institute. And it's just helping people. And just like, even if somebody comes to us or comes to me and says, hey, I think I might want to do this. And we talk and they do it, finish the apprenticeship, and then they move on to a different field or trade. But that's something you can't take away, something that they've learned. And it's just helping people. I love helping people, giving people vision, clarity, and purpose in their life.
Yeah.
And a skilled trades helps check off a lot of those boxes.
It sure does.
It really does. I love taking people, students that are passionate about something and just pouring in them. I am an open book with I don't hold anything back. Sometimes I go too much, too fast, maybe, but I'm an open book and I'll answer any question they have and try to explain to them. And that's one thing I love about the Institute is our mentors.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned earlier, we got mentors. We don't have instructors because we care so much about our students. And we want what's best for them. Just like my dad wanted me to do something better and bigger than him as a next generation. Man, I hope all these students we have come and just blow my socks off and blow me away and go do bigger, better things. That's my goal. That would be awesome, But yeah, it's just
I've met some of them. They will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just in today's society we have such a back in the day we were much more blue collar and now we're a bunch of house cats, And so kids grow up not having much hands-on experience, maybe not knowing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Everything's so technology based and so automated, and so they don't have a lot of experience working with hand tools and stuff. And so there's that gap to jump in is growing more than it was even when you and I jumped into the trades.
Yeah.
Because everything was much more mechanical, and you just it was just not as automated and automatic everything. Right. And you could fix your own car and you would go out with your dad and fix X, Y, or Z, or go out on a job site with your dad and stuff. And so the gap, I feel like, to jump in for a lot of people is farther. But I'm telling you, that gap can be bridged.
Yeah.
And you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Is that something, just to, you're willing to give tours of healing, but if someone feels like that gap is there, that's something that they can reach out to you
absolutely.
as well. And be like, maybe there's a different place for them. Maybe what is it that you're interested in? But it's like, I think that, our vision at Blackline overall is to lift the view of the skilled trades. Yeah. And for me, a big reason for why we want to do that, whether it's a camera crew, a creative team out on a project actually filming what you do, or whether it is people training in the Institute, or whether it's working with your company from a strategy standpoint of, right, how do we communicate this? How do we market this? How do we build culture? How do we do these things? Whether it's any one of those, we want to lift the view of the skilled trades. And that starts with not just caring about people, but taking the time to invest in them and show that people have value. And I think that our culture, not I don't know that it's intentionally, but over the years has begun to neglect or take for granted the tradesmen and tradeswomen that do the things that make life happen.
Yep.
And so, we talk about an intermodal and what that is and the infrastructure of how that makes it that life works here in America.
Yeah.
And we're dropping this podcast on Memorial Day, which happy Memorial Day.
Thank you.
And Memorial Day is all about remembering the men and women and what they did that we're able to live the lives that we live. And tradesmen and tradeswomen, tradespeople are not any different in that regard of how they've been forgotten and how we must remember. Like, listen, if you're watching this, I've said this before, but if you're watching or listening to this on the internet, it is because of the tradespeople that laid the foundations and the infrastructure for that to be able to happen.
Yeah, I would go far as to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to all you men out there. Like, seriously, we would not have what we have. We would not be able to do this. My wife, my kids, my family, we would not have with all the tens of thousands of skilled trade men and women out there So happy Memorial Day to you too.
Yeah.
You know, it's an honor. I consider it a freaking honor to be called a skilled tradesman.
Yeah.
It's an honor. It's a badge of
agree.
honor. It's a
I
badge
agree.
of honor. I was having dinner with a buddy a couple of weeks ago, and he was sitting there with his little 12-year-old snot son. And he's a cool kid, but, you know,
Yeah.
he's at that stage where he's annoying. But anyway, we were all there.
I was a snot when I was 12 years old,
We're all there.
or worse.
But, and I don't know why he said this. We weren't talking about it, but he just out of the blue said, Dad, a teacher should definitely make more than a plumber, right? And his dad looked up to me knowing that I'm a skilled tradesman and all this, and he just kind of like got a little red and just kind of, and I didn't say nothing because I was like,
Right.
son, man, I could talk to you for 4 hours about that bunch of crap,
Yeah.
you know? And that, yeah, it's just, anyway, it drives me nuts.
Well, I think that you know, I love how you say that because I think that exemplifies who you are. Here you are sitting on this podcast saying thank you. You know, and I want to say that as well, not just because if I don't say it now, I'm just going to look like a total loser, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like it is the truth. You know, my history and my family, a lot of my family did utility work. You know, I have a picture of my uncles and my grandfather, and they were on PP&L line crews, you know. And I think about that when I look outside and I see, you know, a utility pole. A lot of people call it a telephone pole, but there's a major difference.
Yeah.
You know, a utility pole, and it's like, how long has that been there? How much of the infrastructure that exists, like, you know, electricity only really came into existence back in the early 1900s, and people installed across our country infrastructure that makes us able to live the lives that we live. And now technology is continually changing, so infrastructure is continually changing, and then you have to maintain it. And it's like, I do think that today is a very important day to say thank you. Like, thank you for the work that you've done. You know, we've been dealing with a lot of storms here and there, and a lot of people don't realize. I was just the other day. It was a Sunday morning, and I'm taking my family. I can't remember if it was Mother's Day or what it was, but we're taking my family to church, and we're on our way, and there's this utility truck sitting in a field as we're driving to where we're going, and I look on the other side, and here is this utility pole that is busted, and the top of it, like more than half the pole is missing, so someone obviously hit it, and it's hanging by the wires. And so this utility truck is sitting there, obviously got called, and they're waiting. So we go to church, we enjoy our morning, you know, we're on our way back. And there are 4 line trucks, utility trucks, and there are crews of people there working on a Sunday morning to maintain the infrastructure for you to have air conditioning, for you to have your TV on, for you to have lights, for you to have that. They're working on that. And I really think that our culture and our society, like, you know, you bring your phone up, and if you like Instagram or YouTube or anything like that, it is only working right now because of the men and women that do the work to keep it functioning. And, you know, they obviously probably wanted to be at home too, sitting, looking on their devices or enjoying time with their family, but they were out there working. And there we were, and it was not even a couple of hours, and there they were out there fixing that infrastructure in order to maintain it. And I think that we just take for granted what that is, what it looks like, and how that works.
Yeah, a lot of people don't necessarily even understand. We're so disconnected from those types of things in our society now. But yeah, I agree. Being in the skilled trades, to me, it's like a brotherhood. You get it. Like you can, when you sit down, you're a plumber, or you're an electrician, or you're a heavy equipment operator, or you're a truck driver, you're a fabricator.
Right.
Oh man, we instantly can connect on a way, because we just our minds work, and we just have an understanding, and there's like this common ground. Like, yeah, we're building this together. We're rebuilding America. We're improving America. We're a part of America. Without us, there ain't no America.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the truth of it. There is no America without tradespeople.
Man.
There just isn't, and there's no maintaining it without tradespeople.
And I will go to say, like we touched on before, and I just, you know, for our students and for people thinking about it, you know, I was always under the impression that if you're in the medical industry, man, you're golden. You're always going to have a job, you know. And there's a hospital up our way that's laying off hundreds, thousands of people, and nurses and all the people that work in the offices and everything. They're losing their jobs left and right because mergers and acquisitions and all this stuff going on. you're a skilled tradesman right now and you're half decent at your job, I mean, it's just, there's a shortage of us. And as we continue to invest in our infrastructure and our economy continues to grow and our population, there's never ending amount of work.
Agreed.
And by the time something gets put in, as you know, something comes out, something changes, a code change, an infrastructure change, an upgrade, it's constant work. Constant work.
Yeah.
And, so I remember a lot of the people I went to school with in high school, then went to medical school, and they're not in that field anymore.
Yeah.
They're not. And you would have told me 15 years ago, they are golden.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's the other thing that's really important in saying thank you is just recognizing too, when we take people for granted, then they don't want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
When we don't appreciate what people do, and I mean, that doesn't matter if it's a tradesperson, a doctor, a nurse, or whoever it is.
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Nope.
If we're not being appreciative of what people do, I think about it sometimes, I'll go to a business lunch or something and the server is there and the restaurant is busy and they have like 16 different tables to work with, and they come to our table and they have a smile and they treat us with dignity and respect. And not everybody treats them that way. Like, showing appreciation for the work that people do, whatever it might be, and recognizing that the plumber has just as much value as the teacher.
Yep. Yeah, it's not, the plumber doesn't have more value than the teacher.
No, but equal.
Yes.
Like equal value. And it's like that is the thing, and to not dismiss that. So I think that's really important. Mm-hmm. So we as we're talking here, I do this a lot. And I think this is really important. I think it's important to acknowledge that a lot of what we learn from doing things wrong or making a mistake, from and then taking that time to look at our mistakes. Like, if we don't look at mistakes that we make and we don't look at failures in our life or whatever it might be, and just to be clear, a failure is only a failure if you don't look at it and you don't address it and you don't work through it. Mm-hmm. But I always ask people on the podcast, because I think it's really important, and we want to be authentic and we want to be real. What is a mistake that you've experienced, that you've made, something that Caleb Arnold has done that you're willing to share with us, that you think, that you have value from having looked at it, having dealt with it, that you're willing to share, that people might be able to learn from, that you've learned from? Do you know what I mean? Because I think that we get caught up in this, especially in the trades, with liabilities and with, courtrooms, lawyers, all that stuff, where we never want to talk about a mistake. It's we don't want to talk about it because I might get sued or I might this or that. And it's like, but, or even to the point where we talk about safety so much that it's like, you're not allowed to make a mistake.
Yep.
You're not allowed to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, obviously you're incompetent and you're going to lose your job. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no. What are mistakes that we've made? And how do we talk about them so that not only do other people learn from them, but so that we learn from them? So this is where it gets real and it gets honest. Mm-hmm. Caleb, what is a mistake that you've made?
I've made a lot of mistakes on my miswired our motors and blew them up. And, caused, Yingling, like, we had a trouble with our pasteurizer, and I diagnosed it, troubleshot it, thought we had it. We had to run out for parts, and we were down like 6 hours, replaced it. Wasn't it?
Ugh.
And you're talking about how many tens of thousands of dollars an hour we're losing in production.
Yeah.
And you got Dick Yingling and Jen Yingling standing over there. They're great, but they're back there water. Talk about a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
But I will to be completely transparent, and as open and as transparent with you and our viewers and people watching at home or on their commute home from work or whatever, not believing in myself. Yeah. So many times in my life, I can't do that. I can't do it. I'm not good enough.
Let's drill down on that. Come on, tell me more.
Going back to the beginning, I'm not good enough to be. I can't be a skilled tradesman. I'm not good. I'm not good enough. I can't do I'm not as good as I'll never be like my dad. I'm not good enough. I'll never be as good as my older brother. And through life, I can't apply for that job.
Yeah.
I can't put in for that. I can't ask for that responsibility. I'm not good enough. I'm not trusting myself, believing in myself, and second guessing myself is. I've done it so many times, and unfortunately, God's blessed me, and I've done well in my career, and I've gone a lot far, and just honored to be a part of this. But man, that's why I've said it so many times already, but that's what people. You can do this. If a dumb retard like me from the coal region, a coal cracker, can become a director of an institute and lead electrician at America's Own Brewery, you can do.
Well, that brings a really good point, because we don't hire dumb people from the coal region. We hire people who understand critical thinking and know how to problem solve and how to figure things out. And I will say we hire people who understand and are willing to do what it is to work hard.
Yep.
And so, and I'll even push back a little bit farther, because I think it's something that this is probably one of the mistakes that is one of the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it's almost a form of false humility, which, if we're going to be honest about what false humility is, that really is pride draped in this false humility of, and so I'm going to push back on you. I'm going to push you here a little, because the reasons that I believe that we would do that, and I've been guilty of this myself, just like you. Well, I can't do that. Can be twofold. One, it's that false humility and that pride of, well, I don't want to do something and actually not be able to do it and it look good or look right, because I might look like a fool.
Yep.
Well, guess what? You might look like a fool. But that is not a reason not to try something. That is the definition of pride, to say, well, I don't want to do that because, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. Listen, smart people is all they are people who've decided to risk it, and they're willing to be embarrassed. They're willing to deal with that they might have done it wrong, and they have that real humility, not a false humility, that it's like, hey, you know what? I don't know, and I might not be the best at this, but I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to try it. And if you allow that mistake, as you call it, to creep in, it will prevent you not only from experiencing what it is that you might have been made to do, it will also then, you do this thing where you begin to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, you begin to go backwards. You begin to regress.
Yep.
And it's like, because it's really dangerous. Like, it's one of those things that in a moment it can be like, oh yeah, I can't do that. And we feel like we're really being humble, but we're not. We're framing ourselves in this, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, are you afraid to do it? And then why are you afraid to do it?
Yep. It's different.
Yeah, it's different. And so I think that's really important. If that's something that you struggle with, and I'm really glad that you brought it up, if that's something that you struggle with, because I would venture a guess that it's actually never benefited you in your life.
To be fearful and scared.
Yeah.
No.
Never benefited you in your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, that touches on, fear itself. Fear has no benefit to anything. There's nothing wrong with being afraid, but it's what you do with it. We talk about that, our core values at Blackline. See if I can get them right here. Honest, excellence, and grit. And so, honesty is that, not necessarily are we telling everybody everything, but we don't hide anything. Excellence is that we are about doing the absolute best. We're not striving for perfection, because that's not a reality. That's not possible. But we are striving for excellence, which really simply, excellence is just being better tomorrow than we are today. That's all that it is. And then lastly, and this is the one that I was trying to speak to, is grit is the courage to face it. Grit is the courage to be able to say, you know what? I don't feel equipped to do that, but I want to do that. And I'm going to step out and I'm going to do that. And it's like, you're living in your dad's shadow, and you're like, no, I can never be like that. I can never be this. And the truth of it is that you have what it takes to actually be better, to actually go farther. And we know this because you would say that about any one of your students. You would say, you have the ability to go farther than me. And you even said it already. That's your goal. And I know that was your dad's goal. I know that is the goal that you have for your children. And so we should never be saying, well, I'm not good enough, or I don't have what it takes. And it might be true that you don't have what it takes today.
Yep.
But if you keep pushing forward, tomorrow is different than today.
I think what goes along with that is just, I've learned, I know you know this too, failure, while it sucks, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
When you get it all right, you don't learn jack.
That's true. Most of the things that I've learned that have actually made me money are things that cost me a lot of money to learn, and it was not in a classroom. It was not in the classroom. I would say the number one thing that I've learned is do not hesitate to have hard conversations. The longer that you wait to have a hard conversation, the more it's going to cost you, whether it's monetarily, whether it's on a job, whatever it is. You want to run to those things,
Yeah,
So.
that's what. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've learned. Not being afraid to fail, and I struggle with that today. Should I? Can I handle this? Can I take this on?
Yeah.
But as I fail, you have to learn to embrace that.
Yeah.
Because that's when you truly learn. You truly learn. My dad, he was doing a job, putting a hot cam in a 80s Camaro, an IROC Z Camaro, and he put it in and started up and was breaking in the cam, had to shut off for a fuel leak, turned it back up during the break-in period, and he started up and it started running like crap, wiped out the cam lobes, rod bearings, seat. I mean, the whole thing went to the crapper.
Right.
In the course of 5 minutes, the job went from, man, this is awesome, get this thing out of here, to now we need an engine,
Right.
And of course, and he's besides himself, but he's been doing this for 40 years, 45,
Right.
46. And, but after the project was over, I was asking, he still learned.
Yeah.
But he failed and he learned.
Yeah.
He failed and he learned. He failed and learned. Fail, learn, fail, learn. And that's how you continue to grow.
That is how you continue to grow. And the only way that you can do that when it comes to failure is what you just said, to fail and learn. Meaning you will not learn if you fail and say, that's it, I'm done. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. You have to, and that's where grit comes in, because you have to be able to face it. You have to be able to look at your failure and really look at it in order to be able to learn from it. Because if you can't look at it, you can never learn from it.
I think one key to having that grit and being able to come that is to have a mentor.
Yeah.
Like I've made some mistakes in my life. I know I can come to you, say, Josh, I'm not sure how to handle this, whether it's dealing with the trade or just personal.
Yeah.
And so it is important to surround yourself with people that will support you in that process of failure,
Absolutely.
learning, growing, failing, learning, growing, failing.
Yeah.
And, that's why at the Institute, my students, our students,
Yeah.
that's what I want to, man, when they mess up on a job and screw something up or whatever, man, I get students come to me about personal things. What do I do about this, man? I messed up. Let's talk.
Absolutely.
Or if I don't know, I'll get you somebody that, hey, let's give this person a call. I think they can help us walk through this with you. And so it's surrounding ourselves. And that's why, going way back to the beginning of this podcast, I hit the life slaughter with my parents, my siblings, and have people like you in my life that have helped me go from someone that feels like I'm just going to be digging coal for the next 40 years of my life to where I am today in only 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, so.
Well, I think, if I'm going to like summarize some of what we talked about, I think it's just that the skilled trades, the sky's the limit. The Air Force used to say, which you were in the Army, so not the Air Force. I won't confuse that. But they used to say, and maybe they still say it, aim high. I think that's what people need to go after. It's like, hey, aim high. And what we need to realize is it doesn't mean a 4-year degree is higher than a trade or a trade is higher than a 4-year degree. It means do better than what you did yesterday tomorrow. If you feel like you can do it and you have the skill for it, you probably are not aiming high enough.
Yeah, if you're like, I got this is easy.
Yeah. Then that's the time that you need to aim a little bit higher. So, and that's the thing that I love about the trades is you're always challenged to learn the next thing and to keep going through it.
Never a dull moment.
So we're having a graduation. Some of your students are graduating. Yep. What would you be saying if they end up listening to this? Which probably none of them will.
Make it their homework.
Yeah. That is genius. So if they end up listening to this, what is something that you want to say to students or people who are wanting to learn?
Well, to the students that are graduating, man, I'm proud of them, first of all. Because it's easy to start something. 4 long years. It's a long 4 years. The skilled trades are not for the faint of heart. And you can do it, but man, you got to have some, like we talked. You got to have some smarts and be willing to learn. But you also have to have some grit.
Yeah.
because you're going to get dirty.
Yeah.
And, you know, to
Dirty
go,
hands, clean money.
yep, that's right. And, you know, to go through an apprenticeship program, you're working 40, 50 hours a week, and then you're going to night or weekend, evening classes and having to do homework and study and take tests. And meanwhile, you got a family you're trying to raise and stuff. It's not hard. It's not easy. But it's worth it. And I'm proud. I'm proud of all of our students as each year goes from year 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and 3 to 4 and 4 out of our program, man. I am just so proud of them.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to do great things. I'm so proud of them. And I can't wait. You know, we're kind of wrapping up this school year, and I can't wait for next year, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some stuff we're planning for next year, as you know, that I can't wait to talk about and be able to do next year with our students. But the new students we don't know who they are yet, but, you know, they're coming.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to just put my arm around them and say, you got this, man.
Yeah.
You got this, girl. And we're going to walk through this with you.
Yeah.
And I'm here for you. We're here for you no matter what. And you got it.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to push you. It's not going to be fun. Sometimes you're going to hate me because I'm going to have to pile on a lot of homework.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to blow a test. That doesn't matter. We got you. And we'll work with you. And you're going to be able to learn something in the end that nobody's going to be able to take away from you. And it's a sense of pride that you have. I know how to do that. I've done that. I built that. I was a part of that.
Yeah.
And something you can share with your kids, and something you can, you know, like teach into your kids. It's generational. Like with you and your dad and me and my dad. It's generational. That's what's so awesome about the skilled trades. There's so many things awesome. We can talk for fun.
Well, and if you don't have that generation, you can come and be a part of it.
Start it.
Exactly.
You can be part of a generational change.
Yeah.
In your family.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and we've talked about this. This is pretty exciting. Again, back to your hat that you're wearing, the oldest brewery in America, 6 generations.
Yep.
And still going. And not only still going, but I would say making some pretty big strides and changing some pretty big things.
Oh yeah.
And having the power to make influence and change.
Yeah. What's fun, like it correlates, and that's one reason I'm passionate about Yuengling. They punch above their weight. They're fighting against and competing against the big players of that industry.
Yeah.
Huge names, global companies, and they're going pound.
They're aiming higher than they were yesterday.
Yes, and they're
that's what
going
you're supposed
toe
to
to
do.
toe with them. And the same thing with our students, man. Man, you can go far.
Yeah.
And punch up above your weight class and go do things. I mean, I'm sure when you started out as a level 1 apprentice, you never would even dreamed that you'd be sitting here and having everything you have now.
Actually, this was part of my grand plan that,
Yeah.
you know, when I went into the apprenticeship for the first year, I was like, I will be doing podcasts later in life, and this is how you do it.
What step was like 46 or 47 are you on now?
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
that plan.
Exactly. I think, so the other thing that I would just like to say is if you are a business or you're a person, an individual, and this is something that you're interested in learning or being a part of, you know, Caleb, where can people reach out to you to learn about how to either become an apprentice at the Blackline Institute or how to bring their business into that they can get their people trained here?
Well, I would tell you first our website, blacklineltd.com. You can fill out a form on there, and that'll get to me, or you can email me directly at Caleb, CALEB, at blacklineltd.com. I would love to talk with you, grab lunch, and see what we can do for your business, or if you're an individual and you're thinking about, man, I'm thinking about this, I don't know. My parents say I shouldn't, or, you know, all my buddies are going off to college, and I'm going to miss out on that experience. Or I don't know if I have it. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I can handle them. I'm not good at math. Whatever.
Right.
We talk through all that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be an honor.
Cool. Good deal. Well, Caleb, thank you for stepping up to the line. We greatly appreciate this honest conversation here today, and I hope we brought some clarity and intention to the skilled trades world. So,
Thank you. It was an honor.
all right. That's it. Have a great day.